Greetings of peace. A very warm welcome. Good day to all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Dimple, honored to be your host for today. Welcome to yet another live talk by Meditation Cafe on Healing Heart and Soul series with Masana De Souza from London. This is the first part of our three-part talk. The second and third part will be workshops with more audience participation. So before I begin, I would like to make a couple of announcements. Please do have all your writing materials, a notebook, pen, paper. You might want to jot down some very useful points or tips. I'm sure you'll have lots by the end. And if you have any questions, note them down as well. And you can post them in our chat box. And later during our Q&A session, after after Masana sharing, you can drop in your questions in the message box and we'll try to take as many questions as we can. So to introduce our topic for today, healing heart and soul. So an introduction. This is an introduction to the journey inwards, true emotional well-being. So we all need healing to help us stay strong and positive. For the physical, we have doctors, specialists who may be able to help us. However, healing our heart and soul is the inward journey, and it's a very personal journey. And having some guidance on this from a coach, a counselor, a trainer, it can really, really help us tremendously. So about our speaker, very special today. So we are going to hear from our very experienced Raja Yoga meditation practitioner, Masana De Souza. She is a master's degree holder from London, who has been helping conduct talks and practical workshops. Her first passion is in nursing and thereby in service of healing and helping to build bridges in authentic and non-violent communication. Having a Jamaican and UK mixed background, that makes her very experienced to help people from all walks of life. So let's not wait any further. Let's hear from her. Over to you, Sister Masana.
Good morning, good day, good afternoon to each and every one of you, wherever you are on the planet. And thank you so much, Dimple, for that lovely, warm introduction and welcome. And yes, we truly have a wonderful, deep, yet healing and restorative journey to continue. Well done to each of you, because each of you clearly are taking responsibility for exploring who you really are and exploring with courage to look at where maybe there are blocks that are stopping you at times from living a life full of joy and flow and access to deep wisdom. This is such a beautiful theme that we are exploring, healing the heart and soul. So first, let each of us recognize that each of us is an eternal spiritual being, having a temporary human experience. And when I refer to the heart, I am referring not to the wonderful physical pump, the organ within the body that is ensuring that the physical body stays well by, as you know, pumping round oxygenated blood for every cell in the body and then removing the carbon dioxide. No, what we are going to be focusing on is the heart of I, the soul, within the conscious mind of who I truly am. The conscious mind is where I create every thought, which creates every feeling, every intention. Each of us is a creative being. And so if you've got your colored pens there and gold and silver, or grab some if they're nearby, in your notebook, draw a lovely big heart. And as you listen to these sharings, there may be add within the heart, on the inside, what brings joy to you. And then on the outside, you can put, as it pops up, what blocks the heart? What blocks the heart from being in your true essence of joy, peace, contentment, access to inner wisdom? And I invite each of you to be the gentle, compassionate, detached observer of your own thoughts, feelings, and intentions. So take a moment, take a beautiful, deep cleansing breath in and release. And allow whatever your intention is for showing up for this session, and pop that in the center of your heart in your notebook. So this is a transformative journey towards better self-understanding and true emotional well-being. We're going to explore managing and recognizing different feelings that come up and understanding these feelings. At times, this can often be complex and challenging. However, I'm going to be signposting you to different things to look out for, to be able to reflect on and explore. Our heart wounds can be quite deep. In this birth, we have acquired many blocks, misunderstandings, blame game, judgment. And this creates layers of heaviness and disheartenment, which is reflected in the body as well as in the mind, which can create inner blocks. And this is what we're going to explore more of. However, for a moment, check within your own body, scan it as that gentle, detached, compassionate observer. Where in your body do you first feel stress, fear, anxiety, worry? For me, it's in the stomach, and then you know what is released. For some, it's palpitations of the heart. Others, it's, I can't catch my breath, so hyperventilating. Others, it may be a headache, a migraine, backache, neck tension, shoulders going up. So check for yourself and make a note of it on the outside of the heart. Because the more I can become aware that the body at times can indicate to I, the soul, where the conscious mind and the heart of the soul is, if I'm not focused and aware and attentive in a moment, not to blame myself, though the body can become the physical barometer to tell me, something's out of balance, something has been triggered. And also, please make a note below the heart, a heading called trigger, because each of you are going to begin to identify what are the different triggers that take you from a place of peace, contentment, compassion for self, being present in this moment, and then what can trigger you to come out of balance. So as they come to you, make a note of them. Before I start sharing slides, the other thing that I would like to highlight is that there is a beautiful phrase that's used in Japan, and it's called kintsugi, K-I-N-S-U-G-I. Maybe Dimple, you could put that in the chat. Kintsugi. It's a symbol of rebirth and hope. And it's the art of repairing pottery that has been broken, ceramics, pottery, could be cup, plate, bowl, and that they use gold dust to actually create where the broken parts can come together. And with that, creates a more beautiful piece of art. And it's a message of mending a broken heart and finding new hope. So it can become a source of healing for emotional wounds and provide the courage, the power to face, to move forward. And I'd like you to have that in your awareness. It's the art of embracing imperfection and finding beauty and strength in our inner scars, so that it becomes more exquisite than it was before the break or the wound. And so as we continue on this journey of exploration and healing the heart of the wound, keep that in your awareness, that even though different thoughts, emotions may come up, that this is all part of being honest and authentic and being able to explore and identify what blocks me and what can I transform. So I'm sharing some slides. Love is the antidote to fear. And when I refer to love, I'm not referring to Bollywood, Hollywood, Valentine's here today, gone tomorrow. No, that's the old world of misunderstanding. When we explore love at a spiritual level, it's referring to all of the deep, divine, spiritual qualities. And you can pop these in the heart, into that beautiful big heart you drew on in your notebook. So compassion, empathy, understanding, caring, sharing, generosity of spirit. So let's explore what can block me and how I can transform. So in order to move forward, we first need to use the language of the heart, of compassion. And feel free to take a screenshot of this. There is more to this than what I have up here for authentic communication. However, these are key points I find are very valuable. So authentic communication, speak from your heart. Remember, we're speaking from the heart of I, the soul, in the conscious mind of who you truly are, where you generate every thought, feeling, intention, being creative from inside out. Be true to self. This means being honest with yourself and then honest with others. Speak when moved to speak. So this is when you know from deep within there is something that is re-emerging, that is time to speak your truth. Respect yourself, and as I respect myself, then I can respect others. I may not agree with everything that anyone else is saying. However, can I respect and accept that they too have a right to express themselves? Also, to have that sense of curiosity. Oh, somebody else sees the world or themselves or others in a different way. What can I learn from this? So continuing to be that gentle, detached, compassionate observer of self and others. Nurture and sustain I, the soul. So this is really beginning to become more aware, the I at a spiritual, so conscious level, rather than the I of the ego, the me. And as I speak my truth, and use the word I, then it's coming from a very high vibration of authenticity. Listen to each other with an open heart and an open mind means free from any judgment of myself, become aware of where the inner critic, so pop that under the trigger heading, where I judge myself, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable. Start to make a note of where those negative thoughts, false negative beliefs can trap me back into sorrow or unhappiness or depression. And then when I turn the finger outward and start to blame others. So I suggest the old world language is one of blame, attack, judgment, criticism. Biggest critic on the planet can be self, and then I start to judge others. So when I listen to each other with an open heart and an open mind, I am leaving space for newness to come in and the old to flow out. Being honest and be compassionate. So fear. I suggest that fear is the greatest virus that affects humanity at this time. Yes, we have many different biological viruses, be it SARS or COVID or measles or meningitis, but those will come and go. However, fear is a virus that affects humanity at this time, creating such stress, anxiety, anger, blame, judgment. So, can I learn to make friends with our fears? Learning to make friends with our fears can prove to be a meaningful return on our spiritual investments. By gently inviting our fear to come forward and asking it what it needs to move it onto courage. So courage is an intrinsic part of one of the divine, eternal, spiritual powers, the power to face what is blocking me inside that creates the wound, the heart wound, and then can be projected out on others. So I need courage. Have you ever considered that the struggles we go through when facing our fear is a disguise that wants our acceptance and love? So this is a journey to first recognize that I can be my greatest critic, my greatest enemy. And now I am learning to be my inner coach and best friend. So when I can pick up either when the body registers, remember, I suggested that physical barometer of where the stress registers. Each of us have a vulnerable part in the body where we react from a place of fear and judgment. Yet under that fear is a disguise for acceptance and love. And who am I to accept and love first? Myself. So when I have the key to unlock my inner kingdom, the mind, remember the conscious mind, there is a subconscious mind within I, the soul. We're going to focus on both the mind and release the fear. And there's this wonderful saying, it's actually a title for a book as well, by Susan Jeffers. You don't actually need to read the book. You can if you choose. However, the title says it all. Feel the fear and do it anyway. So I first need to recognize, what is the fear triggering? Fear is a state of mind that traps me in a state of confusion, chaos, and disconnection with my true wise self. Remember, inner coach, best friend. 2, learning to make friends with our fears can be a liberating experience. So there are personal experiences of breaking through the illusions of fear. So if I give a simple example, there'll be ones that you can make a note of where, and I'm going to give you a little exercise later, of where you broke through the illusion of fear. And so for me, one of the examples of breaking through the illusion of fear is when I am asked to do something that's outside of my comfort zone. Everyone knows what your comfort zone is. It's where I feel safe and comfortable, and I feel I know enough about myself and the situation. That if I am asked to step out of that comfort zone, then fear can start to flow through the body. And the fear is actually triggered by the thought and feeling that's within the heart and mind of either soul, sends a message to the physical organ, the brain, that then sends a message to the adrenal glands above the kidneys. And then the hormones, the chemical hormones, are released of adrenaline and cortisol. And I will either go into fight, flight, or freeze. So make a note of fear will generate these learned human behavior. Fight, when I start to have violent communication, judging myself, judging others. For some, it's physical violence that can harm self or harm others. And flight is when I avoid. I move away from the situation. I'm in denial. And the third is freeze, where I go into shock. Shock for a moment is okay, because I can recalibrate, reflect on what is triggering this fear. Is it real, or is it actually an illusion? So we will refer to these as we go through the other 2 sessions in more detail: fight, flight, freeze. And the whole aim of this beautiful experience is to move into the place of flow. And homework for you, if you can write down the acronym for flow: F, capital F, under it capital L, under that capital O, under that capital W, and see over the next week you can find a beautiful acronym for it. What does flow mean for you? We'll begin to explore more in a moment. So fear is the opposite of the pure energy of unconditional love and courage. And the acronym for fear, so write fear going down, capital F, capital E under it, capital A under it, capital R, is F for false, E for evidence, A for appearing, and R for real. It took me a while to understand what on earth is that. It's like a conundrum. False evidence, appearing real. It's actually virtual reality. Check it out for yourself. How often when you experience stress, anxiety, fear, or worry, by the end of the day, even though your mind has been going round and round like a hamster on the wheel of, I can't do this, it's not fair, why did this happen to me? And the body freezing. Did it actually, that fear, happen by the end of the day? You're probably stressed out and exhausted, both emotionally and mentally, and the body is tired. However, most times those fears have not materialized. So the only time a fear is helpful is when it is actually a danger that's happening right now. If I'm standing at the side of the road and I'm about to step out and I see a truck, a van coming towards me very fast, then it's really helpful for the adrenaline and cortisol flowing through the body in that moment that energizes the muscles for me to jump back onto the sidewalk out of danger. However, to have a lot of adrenaline and cortisol often flowing through the body through stress, anxiety, causes damage to that vulnerable part of the body. So when we look at feel the fear and do it anyway, where I realize now it's a flag to remind me, hold on, let's check out, is this a real fear or a perceived fear? Listen to your inner heart of I, the soul. Love your inner child. We will be exploring more about your inner child within in the next 2 sessions. However, each of us have that little one within, the one that actually has the finger on the emotional pulse of self, that is so honest, that will tell me when I'm sad, when I'm scared, or when I'm ready to play and be joyful. Love your authentic self. Be true to who you are and be the gentle, compassionate observer of self. So sitting in the eye of the storm. I don't know if any of you have had the experience of being where the nature has been totally out of balance, like a hurricane. I've had a number of experiences of being in hurricanes from a baby, child, and adult. And my understanding of a hurricane is that the velocity of the wind that can cause so much damage to the nature, to the roofs on the houses, to anybody that happens to be outside and trees fall on them or the roof goes flying. There's a moment when everything goes very quiet. And I'd like each of you to reflect that this is a practice that you can create when you find your mind is in turmoil, where the storms, the inner storms of the mind, the judgments, the criticisms, either the inner ones of the false negative beliefs that create negative feelings, emotions, or where I'm triggered, remember triggers? Where I'm triggered by someone else's judgment of me, criticism of me, that even if others compliment me, the one that I remember that really hurts within the heart of either soul the most are the ones where I get a criticism. So can I sit quietly within, bring my attention within, like that beautiful song earlier, the heart of the universe. When I go deep within and remind myself I am valuable, I am lovable, and be my best friend, inner coach, then I can withstand the storms that either externally trigger the inner turmoil. So let's go further inward. So when sitting in the eye of the storm, again, you may like to take a screenshot. Always ask yourself, will this empower or disempower me? Is it always true? So for instance, is it always true when someone says, I'm selfish or I'm inconsiderate or I'm lazy? Ask yourself, is it always true or just sometimes? Remind yourself, take a few deep breaths and release. Go deeper within into the stillness and silence. Be open to inner guidance, for it's only when the mind is still, like a beautiful crystal clear lake, I can then see the diamond at the bottom. When the waves from the wind blow over the lake, I cannot see the crystal clear bottom of the lake. So think of those waves where the wind blows are like when the fear blows in, where the mind gets cloudy, confused, and chaos. So I need to dive deeper within, down to the depths of stillness and silence. Then the inner wisdom can re-emerge like a beautiful bubble rising from the bottom of the lake to the top. So use different creative analogies to help you to practice bringing yourself from the fear to that inner balance deep within. Another phrase which is really helpful, trust the process, go with the flow, surrender and let go. So for a moment, think of a stream of water at the top of a mountain. Close your eyes and imagine it. And that crystal clear water is flowing up from the inner heart of the mountain, bubbles up on the surface and begins to find a pathway down and around the mountain as a stream. And that's trusting the process, going with the flow. The water comes across a big rock boulder, and the water goes up and over the rock boulder, creating the most exquisite waterfall. And then it continues down the mountain, through the valley, adjusting, which is a spiritual power, adjusting to the contours of Mother Earth, and finally reaching the ocean where it merges. So it's a beautiful analogy. Trust the process, go with the flow, whatever's happening in life, where the challenges come. I need to first be that gentle, compassionate, detached observer, move beyond, like an eagle soaring in the sky, looking down, having a 360-degree vision of the situation down below. Surrender what no longer serves me well. Only I can decide what I'm holding on to that brings me sadness, brings me down into inner judgment or external judgment. I choose to let go. The word choose is a very high vibration. I choose to let go. First, I need to recognize, what am I holding on to that brings sorrow? And then explore it first. Then I can let go. So before we go there, I'm going to look at negative feelings, because we need to be really clear on the different kinds of behavior that can cause negative feelings. So I imagine you all have quite a large vocabulary for negative feelings. I'm suggesting that bringing it from expansion to the essence, the seed, it will come under fear. However, many different negative feelings of hurt, pain, sorrow, sadness, depression, anger. And how can these feelings be projected? So one of them is projection. When projecting your negative thoughts or feelings onto other people. So if I am feeling angry, scared, or worried, do I also see everyone else through that lens internally and see everybody else either as the problem or that I am seeing that if I'm angry, they need to be angry too? Am I caught in that illusion? Remember, false evidence appearing real. So displacement. So if I'm angry with someone else, do I then transfer that anger onto somebody else? Be it as a parent, maybe I was triggered by something that happened at work, and when I come home to the family, I take it out on the younger member of the family. So I need to be able to catch myself as the gentle, compassionate observer of self, and to look at what that trigger was at work. Work through that first. Be kind to self. Listen to self. Be loving to self. And then I can release that and either talk it through with a friend, write it out in your notebook. So I don't carry what happened at work home with me, or vice versa. Rationalization. Do I at times make excuses, such as I'm always working late, so I have no time to relax, or I'm far too busy to meditate? So often I hear that. But when I realize that time is a human construct, and think about it, when relaxed and enjoying life, maybe you're enjoying a beautiful piece of music, or you're walking in nature, or you're spending some lovely time with a close friend or family member, time flies. Whereas if I'm in a situation that feels very uncomfortable or stressful, then it's like the hands of the clock seem to move so slowly. So I am learning to become the master of my thoughts and feelings, the master of time. And I am choosing to create time regularly, daily, for spiritual and emotional practices that are going to support me as I navigate this journey of life. Denial. So somebody says, "How are you today?" And I say, "I'm fine, I'm okay." Yet behind that is a lot of hurt or anger. Under anger, there will always be hurt, pain, sorrow. There'll always be an unmet negative need. And there will always be a fear. We're going to explore that more in the next session too. So be aware if someone says, "How are you today?" I say, "I'm fine." And yet under it, you can hear, that's a loaded statement. So be aware of where I go into being inauthentic and denied, or I pick it up in somebody else. Not to judge, to compassionately observe. Suppression. This is a big one. Where have I buried hurt or denied feelings? This whole journey in these 3 sessions is to unearth where the pain, the sorrow has been buried, because it's eating away within, causing more mental, emotional, spiritual blockage. Think of a physical heart, when there's a block in the heart and they need to do emergency heart operations. We're now looking at the heart of either soul. And the surgery we are going to be performing is one that's at a very deep spiritual level of honesty, authenticity, exploration with compassion. Remember the gold threads? When I spoke about kintsugi, so the golden threads that heal the pottery, we are going to bring the golden threads of love, compassion, kindness, generosity to heal the heart of either soul. Also, there can be confusion, lack of clear thinking or understanding. Think of when you are stressed, anxious, in a rush, full of inner criticism, or reeling back from other people's judgments. There's no clarity. There's no stillness within. So remember, stillness within the storm. I need to have a regular spiritual practice of meditation so I can tap back into that. So transforming feelings. Some of the steps to help, and please take a screenshot. Detach, create a space. Remember I said detach, move beyond like an eagle up in the sky, look beyond the situation, the challenge. Ask yourself, observe your feelings without judgment. Identify your feelings, accept them. It's okay that I'm accepting I feel sad or nervous or jealous or frustrated at this time. I'm going to be kind to myself and not judge myself. Because once I acknowledge the feelings, I need to understand and go beyond that. What is the cause? Remember the triggers. Was it that somebody spoke to me in an authoritarian way? Or I felt embarrassed in the work meeting when somebody criticized me? What was the cause? Or where somebody let me down? I thought they were going to meet me at a certain time, and they didn't. Be aware and make a note of it. Expectations guarantee disappointment. So whenever I have an expectation for another, none of us are perfect at this time. So be aware where I got trapped in the illusion of an expectation. However, understand the cause. So I need to take those little steps back before I recognize the negative feeling and understand what was the action, the behavior, either myself by procrastinating or by somebody else judging, for example. Then find a solution, a quality or spiritual qualities to help you to turn things around. Look for a new response. Explore ways to change. So be open to newness. Remember, I spoke about curiosity earlier. Think of a small child. They are full of curiosity. They look at the world with eyes of wonder. They're exploring everything with new eyes. Can I explore new ways of looking at myself and at others from a place of self-respect? Value the opportunity to change. See the benefit of the change. So these are steps that we're going to explore in more detail as we progress with session 2 and 3. However, these are wonderful guidelines for you. So the power of positive thoughts. If we create positive, powerful thoughts about ourselves, our spiritual qualities and spiritual powers, the energy of those thoughts will heal and change past negative beliefs that are stored in our subconscious. So remember earlier I was saying, start to begin to list where you have past negative false beliefs. Some of them are examples that are common out there in the world of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not valuable, I'm not lovable, I can't do this. And the way to transform that into a powerful, positive affirmation is to remove the negative words. Keep the statement in the present moment. And then you have a powerful affirmation. So for instance, I'm not valuable. Remove the negative words. I am valuable. And that's the affirmation that I will use when lurking in the background comes that negative false belief. So the homework for you is to start to list more false negative beliefs and then transform them, use a different color and transform them into positive affirmations that the more you use them, the more you begin to change your vision of yourself. So here is a beautiful picture of kintsugi, the heart where we all have heart wounds and at times different experiences cause my heart to be shattered into little pieces like a broken glass. However, as I use insight, wisdom, authenticity, compassion, meditation, silence, I start to create the golden threads of gold, of healing love, to create an even more beautiful heart of either soul. Okay, so I'm going to stop share for a moment. And I've got something else I'd like to share with you. And then we will be open for questions. So for a few moments, reflect back into the past. And I'd like you for this, relax the body, take a few deep cleansing breaths, become the gentle, detached, compassionate observer of self. Reflect back into the past. Recall a time when you experienced some form of illness or mental or physical discomfort, which had a positive outcome. What allowed the healing to take place? What helped you to move on from that? Why was it positive? What changed the situation from being potentially negative to positive? So maybe some thought comes up, some image. What was it that helped bring you from that experience of negativity to positivity? How did you feel? So what emotions, what feelings came up when you were able to let go? So when you came through the illness or you came through the mental or physical discomfort, what was the feeling when you were able to let go and move on? First thought that comes up, and sometimes it's an image, a symbol. Make a note of that. And from this positive experience you've gained from this, how could you use that to help yourself and others in challenging situations? So maybe there's a phrase that you can tell yourself when you're going through the dark night of the soul that can help you to move forward, to have that courage, that love, that self-care. I'll give you a few moments for that. And you may like to put that inside the large heart or draw another big heart with those insights. And I'm going to stop here, and Dimple, when you're ready, if there are different questions that anyone would like to ask at this time, that would be wonderful.
Wonderful talk, Sister Masana. I don't see any questions yet. Maybe we can give them some time to, type in their questions. So if they have any questions, you can begin your typing in now. And what I really liked about your talk is that I'm still, maybe you want to elaborate on that kintsugi again. I didn't know whether, I think I spelled it wrongly the first time. Kintsugi, is that?
Kins, for sugar, UGI.
No
Kintsugi.
T, yeah? Okay.
Yes, I'm not sure if I'm
Yeah.
pronouncing it correctly.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
Kintsugi. Maybe do you want to elaborate a little bit more on this?
yes, it's absolutely magic. When I first came across it, it resonated so deeply. And it is a symbol of rebirth and hope when I look at it on a spiritual level. However, the art of kintsugi is where there is broken china, a plate, a cup, a spoon, not a spoon, a plate, a cup, a bowl, and the ancient art of using powdered gold with the glue, so that once the glue is put to bring those broken pieces back together, the object is even more exquisite from the gold threads that run through it. And so we can use that as an analogy, a metaphor, a symbol for the heart of either soul, where there is pain, there's sorrow, there's regret, there's depression, there's loss. We all have different heart wounds. However, using the thread of pure love, compassion, gentleness, and kindness connected with the divine is going to create an even more beautiful heart within either soul, because I re-emerge stronger, more courageous, and the beauty of the scars actually become transformed and are shining more beautifully. And if any of us look at anyone that has come through challenges, there's something in the eye, there's something in the energy and the aura and vibration of that soul in the body that you go, whoa, this is a wise soul. So
Yeah,
hopefully.
somebody has just put something in the chat about kintsugi. It's, according to them, it's KINTSUGI, and they sent me a link, which I've put it in the chat. And apparently it's like, as what he mentioned, an art form. And it's really beautiful, you know, the way it looks and things. Yeah, it's, I think I did see a video about this some time ago where the cracks, as you mentioned, they put in gold and it looked even more beautiful than what it was previously. Wonderful. So there is a link there. And what I liked from your talk today is the transform part. Transform your negative belief to positive affirmations. And the most beautiful affirmation that I put in the heart is, I am valuable. That was so beautiful. And I think you gave us another homework to do a little, acoustic, this poem on flow and fear. So a little homework for me. Yes. I don't see any questions coming in yet. Sister, maybe you want to elaborate a little bit on the second session and the third session as to what you're going to do?
Okay, so today has been given an overview and some of the deeper understanding of where the blocks can be, and yet for each of us it will be our own inner journey of being that gentle, compassionate observer, of exploring, where are my blocks, where are my false negative beliefs. And what we will be continuing in session 2 and 3 is, session 2 will be transformative tools. So I've started to share some, however, we'll get more practical, experiential opportunities to use these tools to heal the wounds in the heart of the soul. And also in session 3, how to heal stuck emotions, because some are very stuck from a long time. And it takes time, it takes patience, it takes tolerance and care. And we will be using listening exercises as well. I found that deep listening, learning how to listen within to myself, both my highs, my lows, my negative, the positive. And then as I become more attuned to myself, then the inner wisdom, the inner coach can re-emerge. Then I can bring that into practice in the relationships that have broken down between myself and others. So the art of deep listening is a powerful tool that's needed at this time on planet Earth. to rebuild the broken relationships and breakdown in communication. So hopefully that gives a flavor of what we're going to explore more, and there'll be chance for dialogue and more insights that each will benefit from.
Truly, I believe this will definitely help. That means the participants will actively participate in these workshops. They will come on the screen and they can actually share their voice and talk it out and share. Am I right?
Yes, and there will be, for those that are comfortable, we will have breakout rooms of 2 in each room, where there'll be a listener listening, holding that sacred space. We're free from any judgment to allow the other to speak their truth, knowing it's confidential. Nothing will be repeated other than the person who chooses to share what they have shared. And so in that way, we will continue to engender trust. And then the other listener will become the speaker. And this I've found, when somebody listens to me with positive attention, no interruption, only holding the sacred space, what I discover is wisdom that was underneath the wound can reappear, and I gain insights that are so valuable. So the gift of listening that we can practice and share with each other are a wonderful gift to self and to the world.
Wonderful. I think everyone will really, really benefit a lot. And just to let you know, today we had over 90 participants. So, and having them to communicate together, listen, and doing a listening activity, I think that will be really, really good. Okay, we have a couple of questions here. So I'll read out the first question to you. How to overcome the fear when the same set of situations keep happening with someone close? Forgiving, forgetting is challenging, and mind is kind of conditioned seeing those similar circumstances.
Okay, so that's a lot there. And in my experience too, it's the people that are closest and nearest to me that I can experience as the biggest challenge. And it sounds like in this situation too. What I've learned along the spiritual journey is that the person I experience as most challenging is actually my greatest teacher. And this takes time to realize this. My greatest teacher is the one that actually I get triggered by. Remember, I'm inviting as homework, identify your triggers. And my greatest teachers in this birth have been my mother, my sister, and my son. And what I have learned on this journey is that when I'm faced with these challenges, I actually am learning more to be compassionate with myself, to be more tolerant, more observant, more patient, and more kind with myself. And then in turn, I'm able to use those spiritual powers and qualities more out there in life. However, how do I do that? Well, the first thing is to recognize what is the particular trigger that I'm experiencing from that person. So at times when I would hear my mother criticizing me, remember the 3 ways, main strategies human beings behave, either fight, flight, or freeze. So I would go into arguing, right? How dare you speak to me like that, particularly as an adult? And then I began to realize that this was her way of loving me and wanting to see that I didn't make the same mistakes she made. I could only do that when I was actually taking time out regularly to be kind to self and look after myself and become more that gentle, detached, compassionate observer of self than of the other. I'm happy to say that before my mother left the body, and she did a few years ago, that in those last scenes, there was total silence between us and total love. I had let go of whatever pain I had felt through criticism because I had learned to respect myself even more and move beyond somebody else's weakness and judgment. I could give examples and I won't go into them with sister and son. However, we have healed so much by becoming more focused on what can I do to transform my wounds, which is what we're exploring today. So hopefully that's helpful.
I
It's a
hope it
journey,
does.
it's a practice.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. It's not about the other, as what you say. It's all about healing yourself. And when you look at it in a, in a different light, it actually means so much more. And there's another question that is something related. I think you have answered it, but maybe you can add on a little bit more here. How do we dig deep into oneself to bring out long forgotten sadness? How do we bring out the suppressed feeling that's deep-rooted for years?
That's a very powerful question. I can really relate to that too. There are times when one can feel the sadness or pain and not be able to put the finger on what is causing it. Some things are immediate, where you can recognize if someone has criticized self today, then I can put my finger on it. However, this deep submerged splinters, think of splinters like broken glass, little shards of glass that are within the heart of the soul, that are so deep that they're in my subconscious. I don't have access in this moment to the memory of the cause. This is where patience and taking care of self daily, being my gentle, compassionate best friend, inner coach. And there's another wonderful phrase, and each of you can maybe put at the back of your book, spiritual wisdom, underline it. And it's, write this one down. I don't know that I don't know that I don't know until I do. No, I don't know what I don't know that I don't know until I do. And so it's about where I had that slide up earlier, trust the process, go with the flow, whatever's going on at this moment. If there's sadness, acknowledge it, be kind to self, surrender and allow the feelings to come up so I can be kind to the feelings. What is it I need in this moment? Is it a warm drink? Is it a hug? Can I hug myself? Is it to stand outside and observe nature? What is it I need in this moment that will bring a little comfort? So being patient with self, because splinters that are deep, it's like a splinter within your finger. Sometimes you can't see it, but you can feel it. And it takes time for it to re-emerge. So it's an ongoing flow of the golden love and compassion. So hopefully that will be helpful.
Yeah, very beautifully said. I like that line. I must write it down from you again. I don't know what I don't know till I don't know.
And that I don't know until I do.
Until I do. Okay. Now, this question is very related to the first question. How do I let go? Past, fresh heart wounds made to us by other people. I mean, this is something I still think, do other people actually wound us? But anyway, it's written here, wound by other people. That is recurring thoughts and feelings connected with them. So if they keep recurring, what do I do? How do I let go?
Mhm. Okay, so another phrase, leave a space under spiritual wisdom and write this one. If I always do what I've always done, I will always get the same result. So, comma, if I would like something different, do something different. And at the spiritual level, be different. That's what we're exploring. So before the doing, the action, I need to go within and check my thoughts, feelings, and intention. So that is very valuable. And so it is a misunderstanding that the old world has that it's others can make me angry, happy, sad, whatever. It is an illusion. Do not take my word for it. Experiment. Where this whole journey of spirituality is to become the master of my mind and the healer of my heart with the divine. And so I become aware not to blame myself if I have a wound, if I've taken sorrow, not to blame myself, however, to be aware that that person is a teacher for me. It doesn't always feel like that. However, when I realize that they are shining a light for me to look again more deeply at where my block is, where my inner judgment is, or my external judgment. So if something keeps repeating, or there's somebody within my close environment is constantly telling me, Masana, you're always lazy, or you're always late, or you're always whatever. I need to stop and look. There will be a grain of truth within it, not to take the sorrow, not to take the judgment, to look honestly with myself. Okay, there was one time I was inconsiderate. How would I like to change that? What can I learn from that? So I become stronger from inside out, and I no longer take the criticism, the judgment. I come back into my inner self-respect. Oh, it is a journey. I'll give a wonderful little story that maybe will help. There was a farmer, and the farmer had a donkey. And the donkey was old and lame. And the farmer decided, this donkey has no more use for me on the farm. So he called the fellow neighbors and said, help me dig a hole, and we're going to put the donkey in it. And they dug a deep hole and they threw the donkey in the hole. And then they used their shovels and they threw the dirt, the earth, onto the back of the donkey. And every time the donkey shook itself off, and then the hooves of the donkey then stamped the earth down, and again, more earth, more earth, more earth fell on the back of the donkey. Donkey shook it off. Gradually, as the donkey kept stepping on the earth, the donkey rose to the surface. What happened? From that abuse by the others, the donkey's muscles of the body became stronger, and the donkey was strong and healthy again. So where can I learn that adversity, judgment, I can turn it into gold? I can turn it from fear into love and become stronger from inside out. That's the beauty of true healing.
Lovely. Just love that story. And someone here asked, could you elaborate more on fear of the unknown? But do we have enough time for that? Will we be doing that in the second or third session? Or you want to take that as your last question? There's one more question, which I'll just read out to you. So we'll take this as the last two. The one I told you was to elaborate on fear of unknown. And someone has asked whether you would be touching on trauma or emotional, physical abuse, poverty, and other social issues too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the fear of the unknown, please look at the saying again. I don't know what I don't know that I don't know until I do. Recognize what fear is, false evidence appearing real, and explore for yourself. Yes? So that I leave you with to explore. The second one, definitely trauma. I have, from my experience in life in supporting myself on the healing path and supporting others, that every soul in a body has experienced trauma, mentally or physically, emotionally, spiritually. And even if I have not consciously been aware of trauma in my early childhood, that is still a heart wound. What about the generations before me? Each of us have generations of parents, grandparents, great-great-great-grandparents. And each of us can relate to the trauma that they may have been through that then has been perpetrated and passed down the generations. It is time now on the planet, well done each of you, to face what I need to face and then to transform what is in me that blocks me over time using these different spiritual tools with practice, with discipline, with compassion, because then I become a light for self and a light for others. Trauma is the biggest effect on the planet right now. And as I said, I move from expansion to essence. The seed is the fear, right? So what am I still carrying with me that puts salt in the wound? And where am I bringing the gold thread to transform and heal? So we will definitely be continuing that exploration. I think it's time for a meditation now.
Meditation, yes, sister. I think that will really help. And if anyone has any more questions, you can put it in the Meditation Cafe group if you're part of it. And we will try to answer as many questions as we can. And not to forget, Masana is with us for the second session and third session. So all questions will be forwarded to her and she will give us beautiful, lovely phrases and replies. So, sister, I'd like you to guide us through a meditation.
Okay, thank you. So I invite everyone to sit comfortably yet alert and aware. Gently soften the eyes. You can either look within or look at the beautiful image on the screen. And take a few beautiful, deep, cleansing breaths, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Gently breathe in peace. Breathe out peacelessness. Breathe in compassion. Breathe out tension. As I sit quietly, I allow my mind to sit still. I watch my thoughts come into my mind and gently let them go. I create space, openness, and stillness in my mind. Slowly, I become aware of my true nature. I, a point of light, shine brightly in the center of my forehead. I sink deeply into this awareness and connect to my own awareness of unconditional love. I feel love bubble up from the core of my inner being, deep within. As I sit in the awareness of love, I allow all heaviness to fall away. I become light and completely free. This inner love takes me upwards, beyond the confines of this physical world. I, the soul, emerge into the world of endless light. I am surrounded by love. I am totally still. I feel drawn into the lap of the Supreme Being of eternal love. I am deeply connected to the Supreme Being, the brightest star of love. In this connection, all needs for appreciation, acknowledgement, for praise and acceptance simply fall away. These desires for temporary happiness and love that I have held on to for so long, I now realize are the opposite of love. In contrast to the limits of these desires, the true love for the Supreme Being is infinite and unconditional. Unconditional love, endless love, flows to me from the Divine Being. The Divine One sees me in my truest form, my deepest and most complete nature. He surrounds me in His light. All darkness, anything that is the opposite of light, is gently and completely washed away in this pure and divine unconditional love. I slowly return to the physical world around me. I bring with me the security and confidence, the knowing that I am unconditionally and eternally loved. Om Shanti. I'm a peaceful soul.
That really was very, very, very peaceful, very calming. And for those who have joined us for the first time and want to participate with us for the future events, just to remind you, our part 2 and part 3 will be coming. We'll put up a screen now shortly to remind you of the programs. So these are practical workshops and they will have deeper experience. So thank you, Sister Masana. That was such a wonderful, wonderful experience. I can't wait for session 2 and session 3 to get more into the experience of it. And I think a lot of people have benefited. They have been sending thank you messages to me directly and some over there. And yeah, I've got an email address from someone that wants to be connected more. So I'm just taking that down as well. So, sister, what I'll do right now is I will request everyone to switch on their cameras. If they all can switch on their camera, and maybe all of us can take a look. What we say is sharing our vision, sharing our thoughts, sharing our side, having a beautiful picture of all the faces. And it's really nice because we had over 90 participants today. And if I'm not mistaken, they're from many countries around the world, I see. So we'll give you more review about that. And yes, so you can see all the lovely faces, sister. Can you see?
Beautiful, lovely, lovely, shining, beautiful faces. Wonderful.
Yeah, I know there's some here from Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken, Thailand, Philippines. I'm not sure of the other country, so maybe we'll keep you updated. So till we meet again next time, goodbye.